to hear that fucking he just passed away, I mean, that is like...
Well, and I grew up on, all of his solo stuff, probably before even knowing about Sabbath myself. Bark at the Moon, I think, was probably the record that was coming out at that time.
But you should have seen Sabbath. You were born in 1940.
We had the shop in Hollywood, and Zach came down and took us over to a video shoot. I don't remember what record it was for, but it was an Ozzy shoot.
Yeah.
And I'm standing kind of in the back, and I don't know what Zach said or whatever, but I just remember hearing Ozzy look over and, "Hey, Red Monkey!" Like from the front, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, bud?" Like,
he probably thought your name was Red Monkey.
Probably.
That's fucking Red Monkey right there.
Yeah, it was, but I was like, "Hey," like, I don't know what's going on right now, but yeah.
Hey there, this is the Red Monkey Podcast. My name is Torry, and I will be your host. This is a podcast about embodying the spirit of rock and roll, creativity, and combining the two to create just absolute cool, badass rock and roll stuff. Keep listening, and we'll get a lot of stories from a lot of really cool people. Thanks for tuning in.
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right, dude. This guy is like,
yeah, he's my boy.
That's your baby boy.
That's my baby boy. That's Chowder. Chowder.
Okay, lay back down. Sorry, too much. All right, Mr. Torry Pendergrass, my buddy, my brother. Listen to me. So we know you've done Red Monkey leather designs. You have all these rad cuffs and guitar straps and camera straps, and you've done things you've worked with all the legends of music. You yourself are a Hollywood legend.
In my own mind.
In my mind too. Are you kidding? You couldn't get past knowing anybody in Hollywood until you met Torry, because he'd be like, "I hung out with that dude, and she was my friend, and I made a dress for her once."
The old war stories.
Yeah, all the old war stories. Mm-hmm. War stories.
Fishing stories.
Love
fishing
that.
Tales, whatever.
But what made you, you've done, Red Monkey designs, you got all the rad leather stuff, straps, guitar straps, belts, watches, like all this killer stuff that I've known through the years that have become a part of my outfits and looks. But why'd you start the podcast?
Well, this year marks the 30th anniversary for Red Monkey, so it was kind of one of those things, like, what can we bring this new and fresh to the table? Something that could be exciting and worth talking about, because I can do a whole new collection of guitar straps or a new collection of dog collars or Apple Watch bands or whatever, and it's just another collection. But it was like, okay, how do we kind of create a milestone of something that's worth talking about? And so Rosie came up with the idea. She's like, "Why don't you do a podcast?" And I was resistant, but we brought it. She kind of was like, I didn't understand what it was going to be about. And then once I started to kind of conceptualize and think about it, it was like, wow, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of folks that we've worked with, and it'd be great to get some of their, not just an interview and not just a gear breakdown or anything like that, like a little more intimate storytelling, like road stories or, and then it kind of evolved into the next round of like, well, how do we kind of inspire the next round of musicians coming up, or just people in general, inspire them to take challenges and challenging themselves to hit like new creative kind of benchmarks and goals, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And who better than the icons and the people that have been doing it and had their ups and downs. Everybody, these folks may be really, maybe famous, maybe, and for somebody who doesn't know, they've also had their downs. They've had their, it's not just been an easy road to get there. And so it's kind of like, well, let's kind of dive in and like figure out how to, unpack some of that. And, also what they do to like catch a flow, and how do you, find inspiration, talking to you, like getting into a song and wanting to start to, create and evolve that into what then turns into a record, and, kind of find out the process. I find that really interesting anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. Do you have a favorite? I mean, you've done a few podcasts already.
We've got you, we've got Blasco, Dave Kushner, Ari O'Neill. We've got more coming out. We just started, just kind of got this thing running.
Out of the handful of guests that you have you taken a quote or something that someone said that you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to apply this to my own life.
Oh, wow. That's great. I can't think of anything directly that I would be able to like quote. Each person, yourself included, have brought things to the table that have definitely made me think, which is kind of the point of the podcast, is to hopefully make other people think and kind of tap into that next little round of like, what is my motivation? What is my desire to want to create and be more creative? And to hear someone say it's okay to fail, or it's okay to not, get it right the first time, and work, just keep going after it. And I think that's kind of maybe a long-winded roundabout version of evading your question and answering it at the same time.
Yeah, that was good. It was a little Jim Morrison 1970 where it didn't really make sense, but I love you. No, I'm just kidding. That was awesome. Yeah, I completely get it.
In the realm of being creative and in the essence of the podcast, you've never dove down the alcohol or drug path or anything like that to find your creative muse, right?
Yeah.
So there's only a handful of people that have. Ted Nugent never did drugs, apparently never drank. Gene Simmons never did drugs, never drank. Like, I don't know anybody else that I can think of off the top of my head. You. So like, what do you think what is that the creative world as a whole tends to navigate toward vices that help them feel creative? Like, how do you feel creative? And these are questions that I ask myself too, because I've never been I drink, but I've never been a big drinker. I've never, I've done I've screwed around with drugs, but I never was, I didn't have the addictive, I was addicted to work, How do you find your creative flow?
Again, a creative flow is just, it's going to hit you at some point or another. And you just got to have the wherewithal to have something near you to either record the idea or jot it down somewhere and just try to remember it,
What do you do when you don't have any, you're missing the flow, or you're missing anything creative? Like nothing's come to you in a week and you're like,
oh, you just wait.
Do you get depressed?
No, I don't really get depressed. I always try to, find the resilience in life and keep moving forward. But I do find that like, and I know you know this, but not very many people know that there was a point, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, where it was this rapid fire death in my household or family. It's just like, this friend passed away, my aunts passed away, and it was just like 13, 14 people. I'm probably missing some in 1 year where it was just like every month I was going to a funeral.
Yeah, you were getting your ass handed to you for sure.
And it was that stuff, I mean, as sad, it's extremely sad, and you don't know how to cope with it. And I think I've been able to find solace in music, and I'll always kind of write something for the person who's passed away. So
you found inspiration even in the worst of times.
Yeah, it almost kind of makes a memory of that person. My brother passed away. I mean, I locked myself in a room for a minute and just kind of just sobbed, and it was just super sad, and I penned a song. And it was for him only. And I was able to, a couple of friends, my mom was just like, yeah, you should sing that song at his funeral, and I did. And, there's been some tough times in my life, but something as simple as trying to sing a song to, your brother who just passed away that you wrote for him, there's all kinds of little strange things that happen. You're just like, well, why don't you write songs for people that you care about every day and just give it to them, But the death part of it all really opens up this, Pandora's box in your soul where you're just like, oh, what are these feelings? And he was, people have passed away in my life at that point, but there were friends that I kind of really didn't know, but he was someone that I grew up with, so that, losing him just kind of and he and I, we had a brother relationship. We fought all the time. We had fun all the time. And, he was a heavy drinker. So that was kind of a lot of our fighting was just trying to like get him to ease up,
Do you think that the inspiration has, or is potentially more creative when heavier things are happening in one's life? It seems, because how many songs have come out when like you're on top and you're happy and everything's great, you know? It's like it feels like those times were when,
Yeah.
and that's where musicals came from or something. It's that cheery.
It's that strange thing where like, if you're, creating music at a level where you have nothing, you get down to the nitty gritty. Like, you're really looking for some deep stuff. When things get great, like if all of a sudden, I stumble on $300 million, like my music's probably going to sound like not that great because I'm going to have steaks and sushi every night and be able to travel everywhere. And like, I'm not going to.
But why couldn't you write about that?
Because that would be lame. Nobody would listen to that. Then you can't relate, like no one will relate. No one will relate to that except for people who can afford to do everything. But it's this weird thing because that's not 100% true either, because you got these multi-millionaire dudes who are crazy addicted to like opioids and stuff like that, and then they start falling apart and they're just like, yeah, ever since he got all that money, he started doing this, that, and the other, and now he's a big piece of shit, So I don't know. Okay. When you had a lot of money, you were the biggest piece of shit. Now that you're poor, you're the best.
It's humbling, isn't it? Well, I can relate to that. I've had friends that have passed and from addiction. I've got family that I deal with that you hope are going to be around for many, many years to come, but you have moments where you question if that's going to be the case. So you tend to kind of migrate around the land, the landmines, so to speak, of life, and my approach is just hit it head on and deal with it and then move on to the next thing. That's kind of one of my things is unless I'm running around with my hair on fire, I don't necessarily like it. I don't like being in the moment, but I feel like that's when I catch my flow. That's when I'm in the creative. It's like bum, 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 bum. And I'm like, and it could be ADHD. It could be, who knows? I've been diagnosed by friends and family for years with many different things, and you just don't know. You're like, I have no idea. No.
What's the funnest thing someone's diagnosed you with?
The funnest thing?
Yeah, where you're like, what do you, okay. And it's probably like, a big fat nobody who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. But they're just saying, because you acted this way, you must be bipolar. No,
I've never, probably ADHD, only because I'm wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I'm it's a grassroots operation still, even after 30 years. And I may be jumping on the phone. I may be packing boxes. I may be building product. I may be, everything kind of in my brain has to be, compartmentalized to flow. That's how I catch my flow. Boom, 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 boom. I just go from one fire to the next, so to speak. Right. And so when you're dealing with that on that kind of level, it might seem to those looking in that I'm just like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel.
Yeah.
But I'm not. It's how I'm actually having to do. It's like I can't do this until I do this, until I do this, until I do this, or else the shit doesn't get done.
Right.
But what I do find is the minute I've got everything caught up, which is kind of rare, I don't get depressed, but that's when I do fall into this weird, like, I don't feel as creative, like I'm out of flow.
I mean, this is like a different thing. Like music, I could take that depression or sadness and turn it into something sonic. We could hear that, ooh, that sounds sad. That sounds that like it's dark. Like what is happening with, whatever those chords I'm using or melody lines that I've created with the band or whatnot. How do you like, for instance, I mean, I can't see you being like, man, I'm so bummed out. I'm going to go to the shop and make a leather piece that's going to make me,
right.
it's going to look like my sadness. Like, how do you let it?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Because you're a hardworking dad. I mean, I've had the honor of working with you side by side in the shop, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, you're running 1,000,000 miles an hour. Like, you're like checking out my station. You're like, oh, this looks like shit. Do it again. And then you're running over to
Which
whoever.
has happened
A
times,
ton.
by the way.
And you know what? That's when I realized my eyesight was going, because you're like, dude, look at this. And I was like, I could have swore I went over that with paint like 15 times. And you're like, bro, it is shitty. And I'm like, fuck, I'll do it again. But then you're just, jumping to your station. You're like hammering rivets, and then stop that. And you go and you start cutting leather, and you're like, here, fucking paint these. And then you go back to your whoever's working. You're like, dude, you need to do this better, because it's just. And then you start packing boxes, and you're like, fuck, I got to get to the post office. And then you put on your hat, and you take it off. Your shirt comes off. You flex for me, and then you go back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you? I mean, you're not writing music. I know this is kind of like a musical thing. It's not just it's in creating. It's creating. How do you create your sadness? How do you create something that is happy? Or is that a thing that you do with leather? Or do you just go away and go, I'm going to fucking hit some baseballs into the freeway?
Well, I don't create in sadness. So my it's a little different, because I do think, like with music, or maybe writing to a certain degree, you kind of might need to be in a certain mindset. And when I'm designing, I'm not there. And I don't really design conventionally. I'm not sitting there hitting seasons. When I was doing a little more fashion stuff and less of the guitar straps, even then I would come out with a new collection a little more scheduled. But, a traditional designer will be constantly designing the new collection, and they get to, design it, maybe draw it, maybe get to feel the fabrics and do their thing. And then they let some other people build it. I don't have that. I've had that. And I was actually doing a lot more new stuff, because I would get a thought, and then it'd be like, okay, back when we were doing like a ton of watches, like I might bang out a whole bunch of like things. I was just like, and then I would hand them off to Hector or somebody and be like, okay, build these in these different colors, and boom, 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 boom. Looking back, I don't know that a lot of it was really great though. Mm-hmm. It was just stuff. Mm-hmm. But we were kind of forced into that schedule or into that way of working, because, I was selling a lot to Nordstrom, and they were like, we would sell a bunch of, let's say a collection of a dozen watches to, a bunch of their stores. And then they would come back and go, okay, great, those sold out. What do you have this new? And be like, well, how about a reorder? Why don't you order the stuff that sold? Mm-hmm. Oh, no. We want what's new, and that was kind of right before the beginning of fast fashion. And when everybody was just into like recycling shit and just like fucking going through and churn and burn, and they didn't care if it was good. They just wanted new. And we're doing hand-built gear. It just doesn't work like that. I tried to fit into that mold, and it just didn't work. So going back to what you were talking about with maybe designing when being depressed or in a mood or something, I work better when I'm jamming, because I'm in flow and I'm grabbing this and I'm grabbing that, and then I'm super visual. So it might be like I'll grab a hide of leather to use as a liner on a custom guitar strap, and it will unveil, because I've got rolls of leather, and I've got piles of like Italian leathers that are on a shelf, and it might reveal a skin that I've totally forgot about, and be like, oh wow, I forgot about, that's rad. Oh, and then it's like, I want to do a strap out of that, and then set it aside. And then next week when I have like a little bit of free time, I'm going to jump on that, and because I'm inspired. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times it's the visual as I'm going through the shop, because there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff to look at. So it might inspire a full collection, or I might do something and go, oh, that's rad. I'm going to build a collection out of that. Mm-hmm. But I certainly don't need to be in a deep, dark state to create,
When you have been in deep, dark states, how'd you get out?
I call you and I let you come over and entertain me.
Yeah. What am I, a fucking clown? Jester.
Jester. You're the court jester. You're the red monkey jester.
Yeah. Red monkey gestor.
How do I get out? I try not to get in too much of a mood. I think if I'm really feeling uninspired, like you just got to push through it. So I do some writing. I dabble in writing on the side. And when there's times when you're just looking at what they call the dreaded blinking cursor, you just have to like write. Mm-hmm. Or I just have to like pull out some leather and start doing something new, not just building a studded piece of whatever that we've done in the past, because that gets to be just kind of mundane. But I'm like, get into that leather bit that maybe I found, and then it starts to, before I know it, it's kind of like a grind in the beginning, but before I know it, it's been a few hours and I'm like, oh, and I'm in flow and I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, cool. Mm. Maybe the phone will ring and it'll want to take me out of that. And I'm like, nope, I can't take that call right now because it will take me out of the flow. And nothing freaks me out more than like the little hiccups in the matrix, So I have to just kind of like put all that aside and just go, okay, I need to take advantage of this moment.
What's the scariest thing that has ever happened to you while building a piece? Custom piece, you had to get it out, and all the shit just went wrong.
Man, I have had, okay, so that's kind of a two-parter, because I've had people, clients, pieces that literally just did not want to be made. Mm-hmm. It could be me. Most likely it is. It's probably in my brain. But there will be a piece, and no matter, I might cut it wrong. Fuck, okay. Cut it again. Start punching the holes. Punch an extra hole here. Fuck. Will anybody notice? Well, I know. And my whole thing is if I have to ask or you have to ask me, you probably know the answer. Mm-hmm. So rebuild it. Or I send it out and the person's like, there's an issue, and I'm just like, wow, this piece just does not want to leave here, or does not want to be made, or does not want to go to its new owner. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. And I've had those a handful of times where it's just a grind. It's just like, wow, this shouldn't be this difficult. And I shouldn't have to keep doing this for this thing. The other part to that is I've had custom things where it's like, I did a guitar strap. They wanted like a Barbie pink thing. And I didn't have time to go downtown, and I had just enough leather to make the strap. And yet right in the perfect spot of the strap was a big hole in the leather. And I'm like,
you had to fight yourself from putting your penis in it.
I had to like figure out how to make lemonade out of lemons, basically. So I had this piece of leather. I had the right color. It was either, and there was no time to run downtown. And so it helped me think outside of the box and try and figure out how to make it work. And I did. I came up with a solution. And a lot of times that's what it is just coming up with solution-based things. Yeah. And so you just make it work.
So I heard a story very, 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 very recently that and I want to know your deep down, like your soul. I want to know what your soul feels like, right? After I ask this question. So there's a guitar player.
I'm mentally prepping here for
from Slayer by the name of Kerry King, who wanted a guitar strap made for one of the legends, the icon of heavy music, Mr. Tony Iommi. So he asked you to make a custom strap for Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath, and then you blew it.
I blew it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. How does that feel? I mean, I want to shoot you.
I know. I want to shoot myself. It feels like shit. I fucked up. And one of the biggest learning things that I have, I'm not circumventing this, but I have
Well, learned. If you have to say it before you say it, probably, right?
One of the things I've learned is to admit when I fucked up and know. And own it. Just own it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, there's and I've learned that with clients where they come in and they're like, "You guys made this strap wrong," and I'm like, "Oh man, wow, we did. We fucked that up." And they're like, "Oh, what?" Oh, I thought, and they think they have to come in all hot and heavy and like, oh, and rah rah rah, and you're gonna fix it for me. And it's like, yeah, dude, we'll totally fix it. Like, So back to Kerry. He hit me up. Yeah, he was like, "Hey, man, I want to do a really cool custom strap for the newest, the latest show, the last show in Birmingham, and I'm gonna play it live."
For those of you that don't know, Black Sabbath did their last show in Birmingham, and he was gonna make a strap for Tony Iommi.
For Kerry King.
Kerry
who was
King
gonna
to
play
give it to.
and was going to gift it to Tony Iommi. Yeah. And
Carry on.
And I've never made a strap for Tony, and I was like, and I'm friends with Kerry and I've been making his straps for years. So of course I want to, it's cool, and I'm all about it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll get to it after I gotta get through, like, also part of my thing is because we're so kind of busy bouncing around that it's like I need to get, I try to treat all clients the same. So I don't want to just go, well, Kerry called, I'm shelving everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I try to operate, clients are clients. So taking care of these old orders, we maybe ran a special and we got slammed. And so I'm trying to, I was behind on the schedule and we're trying to build and build and build. And I'm like, okay, I'll get to Kerry. And in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to tell me what he wants to, what he's thinking, what kind of mood board or inspiration we're going for. And, because I don't want to just build a strap. I'm not just going to throw studs on a strap. There has to have thought and purpose to it, right? And it's a gift. And it's for Tony Iommi. And I'm like, fuck, okay. So I'm mulling this over. And sometimes these things take a long time to like manifest in my mind and really come to something cool. Because I could build him a strap, but
But you didn't.
And so in my brain, I've got less than a month. I think he, hit me up and it was a couple weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'll get to it. And I lose track of time so easily. And on the 3rd of July, I'm like, oh man, I never heard back from Kerry. I got to hit him up because that show's on the 15th. Mm-hmm. And I go back into my text and he's like, hey, I want to get a strap for the show on the 5th. Mm-hmm. And it's the 3rd. Mm. And I'm thinking this is the 15th. Yeah. And I'm like, and he's already in Birmingham. I'm like, fuck. Normally I would stay up all night. I'd overnight that shit. I've made that happen where it's like, but not for Europe. That would be for a show if it needs to be in New York tomorrow. You're like, we'll overnight it as long as I can and I'll eat the cost, whatever it's going to take to like make it happen. And it was the first time that I've actually screwed the pooch in that way where I was like, wow. And it was a big one. Like I went down in flames. Yeah. And I was embarrassed and I had to own it. And I hit up Kerry and I'm like, man, I fucked up. I'm sorry. And fortunately, it took a couple days. I thought I was on ice. And then he hit me back and he's like, I don't hold any grudges. Let's make some new shit. I'm like, wow, thank you for understanding because I felt horrible.
That's killer.
I know.
No, I mean, I want to kill you.
I know. No, I know. I mean, killer, like, yeah, no.
Osbourne's dead.
What?
What?
Yeah. It's like front page.
Oh, no.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I swear.
Ozzy? Mm-hmm. Wow. Holy shit.
That's horrible. That is the fucking worst possible news you could give me right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow. Which is another one of the reasons I started the podcast was to try and get folks before all of this starts to happen, because of we're all getting older. Wow.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Is that real? Like, yeah, fucking with me? That's not like TMZ bullshit.
No.
Like,
It's real. Yeah. It's all over. It just happened. announced it like 15 minutes ago.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Well, buzzkill.
Yeah, that's fucking horrible. Well, fuck, man. That sucks ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally, I could see the blood leave your face. So I could,
I'm
I
like-
know mine, everything just got brighter, right? Like in a fucked up way.
Wow. Yeah, that's horrible.
So apropos, you guys were talking about death and that whole thing and why the podcast, and this was the main reason why he even thought it was a good idea to do this. It's like all the legends, like all the great, what happens, when all of these icons are gone.
And
That's a massive one. Like, listen, Ozzy, man, he was going through. He's getting older, and he lived a really heavy life, hard life. But I mean, it's fucking Ozzy. That's like the last of the true fucking metal gods.
heavy metal.
That you just want these dudes to fucking live forever. I mean, in a weird way, I would have rather him have not been alive, before I was born, because then he would just be legendary, like Hendrix, like these Jimi Hendrix, these like James Dean, your Marilyn Monroe's, your John Bonham, you're like, they're legends, and
They were iconic before we were around.
before I was
And-
even alive.
Yeah,
So you
no,
just
I
see
get
them
it.
as these great comic book characters, did they even exist, and
Right.
I feel like Ozzy's just one of those guys who was living during the time that I was around, and just the idea of Black Sabbath alone was just like, man, they are so amazing. This fucking music. Who's that singer? It's Ozzy. And those guitar riffs. It's Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, and they were these characters. I didn't know them personally, I didn't know them. And they were just like, Ozzy was this fucking amazing singer, songwriter that changed my world for fucking, I must have fallen into like a deep Sabbath dive when I was like 13, and it never left me,
Yeah.
And to hear that fucking he just passed away, I mean, that is like,
Well, and I grew up on,
gut-wrenching.
all of his solo stuff, probably before even knowing about Sabbath myself. Bark at the Moon, I think, was probably the record that was coming out at that time.
but you should have seen Sabbath. You were born in 1940. Just kidding.
I remember, we had the shop in Hollywood, and Zach came down and took us over to a video shoot. I don't remember what record it was for, but it was an Ozzy shoot.
Yeah.
And I'm standing kind of in the back, and I don't know what Zach said or whatever, but I just remember hearing Ozzy look over and, "Hey, Red Monkey!" Like from the front, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, bud?" Like,
But he probably thought your name was Red Monkey.
probably.
That's fucking
It was
Red
just-
Monkey right there.
Yeah, it was, but I was like, "Hey, like, I don't know what's going on right now, but yeah." That's the thing is look, guys, gals, creatives, we need people to want to be greats. Who are the next greats that are going to rise up? We've not, you know what I mean? Like, we're getting older. Like this kind of news hits home to our age as well. Like we're getting older. Like, these are just the realities of life. But like, we're in a world where everybody's just so consumed by just wanting to be Instagram and TikTok famous, and there's no real substance to any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I desperately am just like, I wish I would have learned guitar, like, and been able to jump in there and be one of these guys now. You know what I mean? But I can't, and I'm not. And so like, I hope that the new generations of folks, start to realize like, oh shit, like we have a few that are iconic. Lady Gaga, you know, I mean, there's a handful, there's a bunch, but not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess shocking thing, Lady Gaga wore meat on her body, but fucking Ozzy was the epitome of awesome. There was no true shock value because he wasn't shooting for it. He was just living it. It was happening. Like, he lived in the moment. If a bat fell on stage, he bit the head off it because he thought it was fake. But I mean, the idea of just doing shit.
But to go
like
from
that.
he earned the Prince of Darkness
Yeah.
for a reason. I mean, he was, I don't want to say he was like, he was probably one of the most hated as far as parents go.
Sure.
And then, you know, one of the most loved as far as rockers go.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he turned that into like this lovable family name
Yeah.
that everybody knew and loved.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's kind of wild when you know.
Yeah, if you look at the history, it's just he went from being the speak of the devil. Man, that poster, I remember walking through an old record, like random head shop that sold records, and I remember I couldn't even walk down the aisle because there was a speak of the devil poster, and he had all that blood, and he was like, it was that yellow overboard, and he's just like, I was like, I don't know what that is. That's fucking freaky. And then, you know, later coming to find, it's just like fucking real sweet dude, fun loving, amazing stories from anybody who ever actually just lived with him or hung out with him. They just had this great love for him. And I do. I love that man. Fucking to the depths of hell and the highest heavens. Like, God, that's inspirational. Great singer. Black Sabbath, Ozzy. God, we love you.
Rest in peace, bro. Wow.
Well, that's the Red Monkey Podcast. I was your guest host for today. My guest was Mr. Torry Pendergrass. We love you. I know you love me.
I love you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you next time.
Hey, this is Torry. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and we will catch you on the next one.